is 6:33 p.m. on January 12th, 2026, and this is the reorganization meeting of the Monroe Township Zoning Board. Notice of this meeting was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act, and a copy was posted on the second floor bulletin board in Town Hall and on the Township's website. Be advised, no new item of business will be started after 10:30 p.m., and the meeting shall terminate no later than 11 p.m. Audio and video of this meeting is being recorded in accordance with Ordinance 56/2024. The meeting is being broadcasted live on the Township's YouTube channel, and a link to this meeting will be posted on the Township website for the public to view at their convenience. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Carino?
Here.
Mr. Colavita?
Here.
Mr. Comiskey?
Here.
Mr. Deary?
Here.
Mr. Hefner is excused tonight. Mr. Kozak?
Here.
Mr. McGeehan?
Here.
Mr. Mulvihill?
Here.
Mr. Rice?
Here.
Mr. Heverly is excused tonight. Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Kernan?
Here.
Thank you. For appointments to the board, we have Dominic Colavita, Class 4 member for a 4-year term. Joseph Carino, Class 4 member for a 4-year term. Brian Mulvihill, Class 4 member, alternate 2 for a 2-year term. And Don Heverly as council liaison for a 1-year term. For election of chairman, I now open nominations. Do we have any nominations for chairman?
Madam Secretary, I nominate Brian Kaminsky.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Comiskey, chairman, I now turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you.
Okay. I now open nominations for vice chairman. Do we have any nominations? Is there a motion?
Make a motion for Dominic.
Is there a
Second.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We now refer to the agenda reorganization resolutions.
Now it's official.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to table the appointment of the board's professionals and to continue with the board's existing professional staff until subsequent appointments are made. Resolutions number 3, 5, 6, and 9.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, there's the other reorganization resolutions. It's for the R1 2025 appointment of secretary and assistant secretary.
Mr. Solicitor, I'd like to nominate Amy Gallagher as secretary, assistant secretary, Scotty Gabrielle.
Second. Any other nominations? Okay, close nominations, a motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Second is R2 2025 adoption of the schedule of meetings. Any motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
R4 2025 adoption of rules and regulations.
Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
R7 2025 appointment of clerk transcriber.
Solicitor, I'd like to nominate Scotty Gabrielle.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Final resolution is adoption of official newspaper.
Mr. Solicitor, Courier Post in South Jersey Times, I'd like to adopt those as our official newspaper.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, so the reorganization resolutions, let me move into the
Yes, sir.
reorganization. Okay, we have 6 resolutions on the agenda for reorganization this evening. They're from the year 2025. If there's no objection, will be handled by consent agenda. They are as follows. R1 54-2025 is -43 Keith Mayo lot and lot width variance denial. Number 60, 2025, that's Patrick Mann side yard and rear yard variance approval. 2547, Keith Mayo, lot frontage and lot width variance approval. 2538, Brian Giordano, use variance approval. The waiver of site plan is 0525, Brian Giordano, site plan waiver withdrawn. And the final one was number 2546, Marco Di Francesco, side yard variance approval.
Members, your pleasure in regards to resolutions numbers 1 through 6.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes, sir. Okay, Mr. Canary, we did swear you in. You swear to affirm and tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name for the record.
Ted Curtin.
And you are the board planner and engineer, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Here to read the time.
Okay.
Okay.
First on the agenda's application, 07-25 and 25-45, Katarina Supply Incorporated. So this application being complete.
Yeah, because they're asking for a waiver site plan, so there's no actual site plan application. It's not a binding, so no certificate of binding. So yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to deem the application complete?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes.
There should be.
Good evening, everybody. So I just heard the board, just confirm that the application has to be complete. There are a couple of waivers, we are seeking site plan waiver as the board planner noted. There are a couple of additional waivers that we are seeking, that will require a review letter prepared by Colliers Engineering. If the board would like us to address those briefly before we get into the use of the site plan waiver, I can do that now, or,
Do it again.
okay, all right. So while these, our engineer, Mr. Patterson, is getting set up here, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started, if that's okay. Good evening, everybody, and congrats on everybody's, new roles and new elections, this evening. My name is Luke Graviak, I'm with the law firm of W. Lewis and Burr, and we represent the applicant this evening, Katarina Supply Inc., which occupies the property located at 1271 Glassboro Road, designated as lot 14001, lot 4 on your tax maps. Here with me this evening are Michael Ialucci from Katarina Supply, also Linda Gardner, the owner of Katarina Supply, is with us as well this evening, as well as the applicant, engineer Dan Patterson. I'm just going to have them provide some brief testimony here in just a minute. But by way of background, the property, as I mentioned, is 1271 Glassboro Road. It's currently used by the applicant as offices and storage of inventory, specifically water and sewer piping inventory for in connection with the applicant's business, which is the sale of water and sewer piping to the applicant's customers. The property is located in the BP Business Park Zone. It's roughly 4 acres, and it's currently improved with a roughly 5,212 square foot steel arch building, a 5,025 square foot warehouse building, a small steel arch shed, which we'll get into in just a minute, and associated improvements. The applicants before this board this evening seeking use variance as well as site plan waiver approval for a proposed 1,134 square foot canopy addition to the existing warehouse building on the site, as well as a couple of bulk variances for existing non-conforming conditions and a few waivers as set forth in the Colliers review letter dated December 10th, 2025. So first I would just like to address the use. Now, the Colliers review letter notes that there are two primary uses at this property. One is for the offices and storage of inventory, which the Colliers review letter points out that use was previously approved by the planning board in 1986. And the review letter also notes that today would be a light industrial use. In any case, it's a previously approved use, and you'll hear from the applicant in just a minute that to the extent that a conditional use is required today, this application or the proposed use does meet all the conditions set forth in section 175-163C1 of the ordinance. The other use is for the outdoor storage of inventory, which the Colliers review letter notes is a pre-existing non-conforming condition. Or in our view, it was at least impliedly approved at the 1986 planning board meeting. We can get into that in just a moment if necessary. But the bottom line is that there are two lawfully existing principal uses at this property. One is the light industrial use for the offices and storage of inventory, and one is the outdoor storage of inventory. But the review letter notes that those are lawfully existing uses today. And that brings us to the use variance that we're seeking this evening, which is not your typical use variance. It's required under section 174-89D of your ordinance because the proposed canopy addition, and let me just show you before I get into why we needed use, or the argument in support of the use variance. But you see here, you have a principal steel arch building at the bottom, and this aerial is actually marked as Exhibit A2 in the handout that I just handed out. So you have, and these buildings are also both shown on the site plan marked as Exhibit A1. You have the steel arch building, this is where the office is, and some storage of inventory is located. And then you have this warehouse building that was actually approved in 2004 by zoning permit. And so you see here, the applicant is proposing to expand the existing warehouse building with this proposed pole barn canopy addition, which is roughly 1,134 square feet. That's all the applicant is proposing this evening tonight. But because the ordinance section 174-89D of the ordinance states that when an accessory building, the warehouse building, exceeds the principal building in floor area, you need a use variance. And so that's why we're here this evening seeking a use variance just for this 1,134 square foot proposed pole barn addition. And the reason that we're seeking a use variance, the reason that the applicant is proposing this pole barn addition is merely to provide additional covered storage area for the inventory that they store on the site. It's a use variance nonetheless, and as this board knows, the applicant must prove some special reasons in order for this board to grant a use variance. In other words, the applicant must show that the granting of the use variance will advance some purpose of zoning, or that there are some unique conditions about the site that would pose an undue hardship on the applicant if the use variance is not granted. Now you'll hear in testimony in just a minute that the lawfully existing structures and uses at this site make it impractical for the applicant to construct this pole barn canopy addition anywhere else on the site. And I'll have a representative of the applicant provide testimony on that as to why in just a minute. But the bottom line is this is really the only practical area, the only practical place to construct this pole barn addition and make it useful and efficient for the applicant. And we also think that in support of the use variance, the positive criteria, we're advancing at least two purposes of zoning. One of those purposes is purpose I, to promote a more desirable visual environment. Today, the applicant just has some outdoor storage, inventory storage covered by tarps in this area. And, we certainly think that the proposed canopy addition will, make the site visually more appealing because, instead of having some inventory stored outdoors with tarp over it, you'll have a new structure that's going to be compatible with the existing warehouse structure that'll certainly, improve the site visually. We also think that we're advancing purpose M under section 2 of the MLUL by promoting the more efficient use of land, because with this proposed canopy addition, the applicant will be able to better utilize the site in a much more meaningful and efficient manner. As far as the negative criteria for the use variance, we don't see any really no negative impact on the community or the neighboring property owners, certainly no substantial negative impact on the community or neighboring property owners, and that's because, as you can see in this aerial and in the site plan marked as Exhibit A1, the proposed canopy addition is going to be located in between the two large structures on the property. The canopy addition itself doesn't trigger any new variances, no setback variances, no new coverage variances, and for that reason, we don't see certainly no substantial detriment to the neighboring property owners, no detriment to the intent purpose of the zoning ordinance, because the use is not changing here. The applicant's merely proposing this pole barn canopy addition, and nothing about how the property functions or operates is changing. The use is not changing. And so for those reasons, we think that as far as the use variance, we meet the positive and negative criteria. Now, as far as site plan waiver goes, this application technically is subject to site plan approval from this board. However, the board, under sections 175-54C, the board may grant site plan waiver if when it determines that the applicant's proposal, which would otherwise require site plan review, is a modest change and satisfactory to the board. Here, we're merely proposing an open-air pole barn canopy addition to one of the existing structures on the site. We certainly think this is a modest change, and again, nothing about the operations or use of the site is changing. That's all I had by way of opening remarks. We are requesting two bulk variances for pre-existing non-conforming conditions, which I'll have Mr. Patterson point out in just a minute. But that's all I had by way of opening remarks, unless the board or If planner has any questions for me, I'd like to call my first witness to provide some brief testimony.
Would you like to give yours at the end, Tim? Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just continue with your presentation.
Perfect, yep. Mr. Patterson, if you would step forward. Okay, Mr. Patterson, were you present for my opening remarks?
Yes, I will.
And were they true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, and you're a licensed engineer in good standing in the state of New Jersey?
Correct.
And you've appeared before numerous zoning planning boards in the state of New Jersey, correct?
Yes, I was in this room last year, but it was for the planning board.
Planning board. Would the board accept Mr. Patterson as a licensed engineer, or I'm sure he can go into his CV if the board requires?
You can swear him. State your full name.
Oh, I'm sorry,
What
yes,
firm
that's
you
one.
are.
Daniel Patterson,
Can you swear to affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth this evening?
yes, sir.
And what firm are you with?
Patterson Surveying and
Okay,
Engineering.
very good, thanks.
Mr. Patterson, if you would, just give the board a brief overview of the plan that you prepared.
Right, so the site is located at 1271 Glassboro Road, founded by Glassboro Road, to the north of the site. So then we have the existing office building that council already described, and then we have the existing storage building, which council has already described. The existing storage building is slightly smaller in footprint than the existing office building. So when we add the proposed canopy, it increases the size such that the accessory building becomes larger than the principal building, therefore requiring use variance. With regard to the bulk requirements, they're all in conformance, except for there's an existing non-conforming side yard setback for the principal building, and there's also an existing non-conforming accessory setback for the small shed. I don't think it's labeled on the plan, but it's 4.9 feet is the dimension. And then the other existing non-conforming condition was, we had erroneously put building coverage instead of the overall lot coverage. The overall lot coverage is 76.6%, where
I believe it's 25% is permitted. That being said, I just want to make a note there, when the applicant, when the prior owner obtained site plan approval back in 1986, this property was zoned differently, and I believe the permitted lot coverage at that time was 75%. Now, we are just slightly over, but in any case, it's a pre-existing non-conforming condition. Now,
I can add that I reviewed some historic aerial photos, and that existing impervious has been there since early 2000s, late 90s.
and I imagine it was probably there even before that time period. Probably, it was probably there sometime in the 80s, but we can discuss that if necessary. So there were two changes to the zoning schedule. One was for the side yard setback for the accessory structure, correct, which is 4.9 feet where 30 feet is required. And for the impervious coverage, which we can provide an updated plan setting forth the correct impervious coverage. And so can you just give the board a brief overview of why, in your opinion, this application meets the positive and negative criteria?
I believe, as you already stated, it's using an existing site rather than seeking another site for a use such as this. And also the impact to the adjacent properties and adjacent communities is minimized by the location of the proposed addition.
Okay, and the review letter, section 5 of the review letter points out that some testimony is required as to how stormwater generated from the pole barn will be obtained at the site. Can you just touch on that briefly?
Yeah, I would say that since the proposed pole barn addition structure is going over an existing impervious area, there will be no increase in stormwater.
And it's a relatively small addition as well, correct? That's all the questions I had for Mr. Patterson, unless the board or the board planner has any questions. We can, of course, we have one more witness, if you want us to just complete our presentation before Mr. Curran.
Just one question, you can maybe talk about the canopy.
Yes.
The rendering, it matches the building itself, and just talk about that for a minute.
Right, I didn't prepare those drawings of the architectural renderings of the building, but that's what I was provided by the applicant. So
Okay.
The intent is for it to.
I'll have the applicant confirm it as well.
Gotcha.
Yep. That's all the questions I have for Mr. Patterson. I've got one more witness just to provide some brief testimony, just to address a couple of more of the comments in the Colliers review letter.
So if you could just state your name for the record, address, and raise your right hand.
Michael Liucci, with control over Academy.
Okay, and business address, I'm assuming.
1271 Glass Road.
Okay, very good. You swear to affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth this evening?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ialucci. Were you present for my opening remarks?
Yes, I was.
And were they true?
Yes.
Okay, and you're familiar with the operations
Yes,
and
I
the business at this property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you just give, using this aerial, just a brief overview of how this property functions? You know, there's
This is our
a
office.
decent amount going on there. Yep, go
This is
ahead.
our office here. We have a little bit of storage in the back. Entrance here. The barn here with multiple inventory items. We have storage right now on the outside, which is covered by cars. Then we have sections with all our equipment that we sell. In the back, we have plastic ABS pipe. We have pipe here, valves, all stuff for general water and sewer items.
Right, and can you just explain to the board why you're proposing the?
At present, right here, we have this covered with tarps. A lot of this is in cardboard boxes. It's not the prettiest site. We get some damage, we get some water damage. We're just trying to improve some things for us, make it cleaner, and this will greatly help.
And why is it that the proposed addition, the pole barn addition needs to go in that, or would be impractical to construct in any other location other than that?
This is an old, I call this like an old Marine barracks that we've all seen Gomer Pyle. It's that, there's not an easy way to attach to this building. This is the only spot that really works for us. It's out of the way from deliveries, parking. It just seems to be the best place for us to operate.
And whereas, you know, the storage of inventory at the rear of the property can, you know, reasonably be stored outdoors without damaging it, the inventory located near the existing warehouse building does need to be covered, correct?
Yes, yeah, the stuff in the back, it's plastic pipe. This is in boxes, the valves all covered. Again, it's in cardboard boxes and the ring just destroyed.
Okay, and just in terms of operations of the property, how many employees would you say are at the property? You know, on
We have
average?
13 employees.
13 employees every day, okay. And, you know, you generally don't have customers, you know, the property's not used for
Few
retail,
and far between.
correct?
It's orders and we send out deliveries.
Okay, and in terms of, you know, deliveries, drop-offs and pickups, how many deliveries would you say you get per day?
3 to 4.
And can you just explain for the board how those
They come
deliveries
in,
work?
turn around, we unload with our forklifts, put it where it belongs, and they pull out. Fairly simple.
Right, and the same goes for pickups, generally,
Yes.
correct? Okay, and there's no storage, no loading zone on the site?
No.
And that's, you know, that's largely because one's not really needed, you know, there are no customers on the site, correct?
Correct.
Usually, and, you know, a truck would enter the site and drop it off, and then you would, you know.
We'd
store
unload
it,
it and
You would
put it where
unload
it
it,
belongs.
exactly, okay, great, thank you. And can you confirm that the accessory, or, you know, neither the small accessory steel arch building nor the warehouse building, those don't exceed 22 feet high, correct?
Correct, I believe they were both 20 feet.
20 feet high, okay. And at the bottom of this, what I marked as Exhibit A2 on its board, you can see a rendering of the proposed pole barn addition.
Correct.
And as you can see in that rendering, it's gonna match.
It's going to match
the
the
materials
existing
that-
structure that's there.
Correct, okay, great, thank you. And it's not gonna be enclosed, correct? It's gonna be
Correct,
open
it's going to
air?
be open air.
Okay. And just a couple more things, there's an existing chain link fence around the front of the property, correct?
Correct.
And the reason for that is to
Security.
protect security and to protect the outdoor storage of inventory, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you just point out to the board where there's an existing dumpster on the site, correct?
Yeah, there's an existing dumpster right here. We have a 6-foot privacy fence. Taken away.
And so it's largely not visible to
Correct.
adjacent property owners on the street, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, and you get trash picked up once a week, correct?
Once or twice.
Once or twice a week from a private.
Yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I had for Mr. Ialucci. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that the board may have or the board's planning.
Luke, maybe you could answer him
Yeah.
a question about the uses on site, nothing's noxious, offensive, hazardous.
Yes, yep, so let's turn to that just briefly, Mr. Ialucci. I just want you to confirm, as set forth in section 175, 163C1, light industrial uses are conditional uses in this zone. And can you confirm that, you know, the site where the operations at the site don't produce any noxious, offensive, or hazardous
There's no
waste
no,
or
it's all
materials?
solid equipment.
Okay.
And you're not
We're
manufacturing
not
anything.
manufacturing.
Nothing's being manufactured at the site.
Inventory comes in, inventory goes out.
Good.
I have one question through the chair. So this addition will stop you from having any tarps anymore covering
Yes.
things, right?
Yes.
So it'll clean it up and
It'll make it much
make it
cleaner,
look nicer that there will be no
Correct.
more need for any tarps,
Tarps, correct.
right? Okay, thank you.
College report?
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be very quick. So they provided testimony about why they're here for the use variance. Yeah, I find the addition of the canopy attached to the pole barn pretty much de minimis. It's, in my opinion, it's cleaning up the site, getting rid of cardboard boxes that get wet when it rains and so forth. Provides a little structure to, even though it's not going to be enclosed on four sides, just the roof. But it still provides a little cleanup to the property. And again, as we heard, it's internal to the site, it's not surrounding it. So, we heard testimony about the conditional use of light industrial. I'm satisfied with testimony about the positive negative criteria for the board's granting of the use variance. With a bulk requirement, side yard setback, I would think, if anything, the only side yard variance the board should consider would be that small arch shed, that was testified by the engineer, Mr. Patterson, that's existing at 4.9 feet from the side property line, and I think our minimum for an accessory shed is 5 or that. 5. The principal building and the other now larger storage building to the west, they are also inside the side yards, but I imagine at some point the side yard setback was only required to be maybe 25 feet.
I think it was 30 that when this building was approved, I believe it was 30.
And a variance was granted.
A variance was not required when the original owner obtained site plan approval, because this building is.
It's under 30, it's 27.
You know, it
But-
might have been 25, I've got to give you.
But it's like so long ago, it's really what we call and have called out in this review, pre-existing non-conforming, so I'm not sure why
Excuse
we
me.
asked for variance testimony.
Yeah, I have a copy of the approved plan from 1986, and the side yard setback at that time was 25 feet, so this would have complied at that time.
Yeah,
it's a
so that's
pre-existing
pre-existing, so if anything, just the shed, whenever that came about, whenever that was placed, that small little shed, the variance for that. And then we heard the lot coverage variance. At the time the approval was granted, likely was allowed to be up to 75% lot coverage. They did the calculation, the engineer, Mr. Patterson, did the calculation with what exists today. It's at 76.6. De minimis, I would support the granting of the variance for that. But it really, nothing's changing with what they're requesting. They're proposing the pole barn canopy over existing asphalt, as we heard. So there's no change in runoff and drainage. There is shown on the plan a drainage basin that exists. 3/4 of the way, 2/3 of the way back on the western side of the rear. So I'm satisfied with that. The building height, the existing buildings are under 22 feet, and this canopy is even lower than the existing cross storage building. So on State Highway right with 322, there's no curbing sidewalk in the vicinity, and they're seeking a waiver site plan again. They're just doing a de minimis proposed pole barn canopy addition, so. But I guess technically, well, they're not here for site plan, they're here for a waiver, so whether that should come with a waiver of curb and sidewalk.
Probably should, I was gonna suggest that.
Okay, yeah.
And the reason for that waiver is the access is, there are no curbs located on this site. I believe there are no curbs located on the site immediately adjacent to Joseph's Landscaping. It's just, concrete or pavement that's just flush with the street.
All right, just checked off the rest of my letter. They provided testimony on deliveries and loading and so forth, and on the fencing that exists, and that they do have a place for a track store, they have dumpster behind, sounds like behind the drainage basin, that's on site, so I'm satisfied.
And that's blocked from the street by a fence?
Yeah, there's I believe a 6-foot wooden privacy fence, yeah, that blocks the visibility from the street, correct?
Tim,
And it's gated and fenced at the street line, right behind parking out front, and that gets gated and locked at night.
And the shed that we're talking about, you're only like 3 inches, right? It's 5 foot side
It's a
door.
5-foot setback, and I think it's 4.9 feet.
At 10, so that would be like an inch and an
Okay,
inch and a quarter.
so, okay,
It's right there.
is that it?
Yeah.
Members of the board have any questions for Tim or the applicant?
I think I have a question for our solicitor. They mentioned that the secondary use was implied. Should it be anything done there or?
Implied, incidental to the use, it's supportive of the use that's there already, that's how I guess we describe it.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
You had stated that the secondary use was implied from the previous approvals, and I'm just asking our solicitor if we should address that at all.
No, maybe you could just elaborate upon what you meant by that. I understood it, but maybe.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a secondary use. There are 2 existing uses at the site. The first use is for offices and storage of inventory, and the second use is for the outdoor storage of inventory. Now, the first use was approved by the planning board back in 1986. And the second use for outdoor storage of inventory is, it's an existing non-conforming use, a pre-existing non-conforming use. But in any case, I do have copies of the previously approved site plan from 1986, and it notes that this area and all the rear would be additional storage area. And so, you could reasonably state that that was, outdoor storage of inventory would have been implied by the granting of that use back in 1986. Because
It's
no longer
ancillary to the
planned.
use, it's not, you're not storing motorhomes, you're storing
No,
materials that
no.
are part of the business.
It's all part of one use, which is the storage and sale of inventory, piping products to its customers, correct?
Any more questions? Any more questions from the members of the board? Do you have anything else you'd like to say before I open to the public?
I don't, I believe that's all we had.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a motion to open to the public?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of applications 0-7-25 and 25-45 at Katarina Supply Incorporated? Seeing none, there's motion to close public portion.
Motion closed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
We can, yeah.
No.
Probably cleaner
No,
doing it that way,
yeah.
probably cleaner doing it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, to summarize the application, I just want to comment, the attorney gave a very concise presentation.
Right.
Laid it out for us very nicely, thank you, that's commendable. Before the board is, site plan, number 25-45, Katarina Supply Inc. The first part we're going to deal with the use variance. The applicant is seeking a use variance to allow construction of the 1,134 square foot building referred to as a canopy. Canopy, in addition to the existing accessory structure, council gave the historical background of the particular site, how it's involved in the current condition. The applicant is seeking a side yard variance, lot coverage variance, and a site plan waiver. We're going to deal with the site plan waiver separately. The applicant provided testimony through their engineer, Patterson Survey, as well as land information, factual information from the comptroller company, Mr. Iannucci, as to the use of the property, and in fact, the impact, if any, that the change is going to have upon the community and the surrounding area. The applicant provided testimony in regards to the special reasons that advances the purpose of zoning, the unique condition of the property, and as our engineer, I guess, aptly described it as a de minimis improvement to the property, de minimis change of the property. Based upon that, the board should consider whether or not the use variance should be granted based upon conditions and comments set forth in the record by the applicant as well as our engineer. Also, for the record, the applicant has produced A1 and A2 as part of their presentation, so we need a motion to approve the use variance with the agreements placed on the record.
Make a motion to approve, Kozak.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kozak?
This is a successful business in town. It's been here quite a while. And the applicant has demonstrated that the positive criteria outweighs the negative. Yes.
Mr. Colavita?
As indicated, it's a modest change that permits positive criteria. I think that is better than covering completely outdoor storage, yes.
Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Mr. Jerry?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. McGeehan,
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky.
Yes, the state of Missouri goes on. Okay, and the second item for action this evening by the board with regards to the application, there was an application for a site plan waiver. You've heard the testimony of the applicant in support of the site plan waiver. In addition to the general site plan waiver, there's also going to be a specific waiver of sidewalks and curbings. And the board needs to be satisfied that the criteria under the ordinance have been established for the purposes of waiving the site plans. We need a motion to approve the waiver of the site plan.
Members, your pleasure in regards to waiver of site plan 07-25.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
Mr. Colvita,
As our professional indicated, he's in favor of that, yes.
Mr. Crino,
Yes.
Mr. Deary,
Yes.
Mr. Kozak,
Yes, as stated by Don.
Mr. McGeehan,
Yes, as stated.
Mr. Kaminsky.
Yes, it's David.
Approved.
Thanks everyone for your time.
Thank
I
you.
see
Have
why
a good
you
night.
work for Damien.
That's right.
Now,
That's
We really want to know if you know the Gomer Pyle ones.
Yeah.
Quonset hut.
Gomer Pyle?
Yeah,
Quonset
it's called a Quonset hut,
Quonset
isn't
hut.
it?
Gomer
Yeah.
Pyle, Google Gomer Pyle.
Quonset hut.
No.
Okay.
Gomer Pyle.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm confused, but I'll do it.
Don't waste your time.
There you go.
Tim,
What did he say, surprise?
you don't need to. Oh, you are? Okay.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah, right on. I was gonna say something.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is application 25-49, Isabel Vasquez Santiago, side yard variance. Please step up to the mic. Is the application be deemed complete? Is there a motion to deem the application complete?
Motion to deem it complete.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Pierce?
Okay, then we have council present, so I'll let council give their presentation. It's application number 2549, Isabella Vasquez Santiago, side yard variance, and I'll let council do the presentation.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you.
I'm Terrence Bennett, I'm representing Mrs. Vasquez Santiago. We're trying to come into compliance with pre-existing non-conforming side setback. And this is the applicant bought the house relatively recently, in the last few years with that existing footprint. The zoning regulations calls for 25 feet on the side. At its closest, this house is 9.6 feet. But it has existed that way for a long time. That problem was compounded because there was a slight mix-up with the applicant's contractor and the southwest corner of the house was previously a deck, and that was enclosed, and the building inspector was brought to set that to her attention at that point. So we're trying to, as I said, bring this property into compliance. As far as the 25 feet, it appears that there is a strip of land actually on that side of the house, parallel and perpendicular to Tuckahoe Road. That is some sort of a drainage swale. So there is an extra 25 feet there anyway. There are trees in the pictures that I submitted, that are, the row of trees is perpendicular to Tuckahoe Road. And it looks like it goes back to Scotland Run. So there is space there anyway. At the end of the day, you're gonna have the next house more than 50 feet away. So the intent of the setback is satisfied anyway. The house came to be in the first place, but the house has had this existing footprint for a long time. I also wanted to introduce the applicant if you have any questions. As I said, we're just seeking to have this squared away because it's an imperfection in the record up to now. If you want to ask any questions, we have the applicant and Mr. William Matias can translate for us as well.
Just one question. How did this come about that it was brought to the attention? What brought this to your attention, or why you?
Well, Mr. Matias was helping them out, and he called me to make the application. Apparently, the building inspector had brought it to their attention.
Okay.
So, I'm not really sure what happened before that. As I said, she has not owned the property very long. She is a local business person in the restaurant business, and bought the house. Didn't you ask her when she bought that? Well, why don't you?
Yeah, I think it's square in, so. Yes. Just, sir, just state your name for the record. You're translating for the young lady who's going to testify.
William Matias.
Okay, and you're going to translate from English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
That's correct.
Okay, and just ask you to state your name for the record.
Miss Abril Vasquez Santiago.
Okay, and then do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth this evening? Translate for me, sir.
Yes.
Okay, maybe just perhaps how long she's owned the property and when the deck was enclosed.
Okay. You put your hand down.
Approximately 3 months. When she purchased the building. So, 2 years ago, we were after we purchased the,
She included through the chair, so she bought it with a deck, and a year and a half after she bought it, she enclosed it. I'm thinking without a permit.
that's correct.
Without a permit, and then it was brought to her attention that she needed a permit.
That's correct.
That was brought to her attention, and then that's where we're at.
So how far is there, if you're looking at the survey, we're gonna mark that as applicant A1. If you look at it from Tuckahoe Road to the left, how far is the closest neighbor from her property line?
I have it here on the phone.
Just an approximate, because we can't mark your phone. Technology hasn't advanced that
Yeah,
far.
I
AI.
well, there's her house, then there's 9.6 feet to the closest point, then there's another 25 feet for whatever this easement or swale is. And then the next house is off the property line approximately 25 feet.
Okay.
And also the next house is set back about another 75 feet farther than her house is, so one is up here and one is back here.
Okay. So at least,
No, I was following you. I was following you.
30 foot, so it's at least 35 feet.
Well, it sounds like 70,
70 feet.
70 feet?
side to side and 70 feet front to back, like separated.
Yeah, and nothing that would be built.
It's staggered, because it's staggered
Yeah.
back.
And it looks like at the front of the house, the existing building, without the deck, it's a non-conforming side yard anyway, it's 15.33 feet where 25 is required, so the side yard is non-conforming as it is. So,
Pre-existing.
yeah, pre-existing.
Through the chair.
Chair.
I just, why did she enclose it? For what is it, a bedroom, a family room? What was the reason they enclosed it? What is the room now?
The kitchen was too small, we wanted it larger.
So you made a bit larger kitchen.
Can I just ask another question? You indicated next door is like some type of drainage, so is that like owned by the township or something along those lines? Or probably won't be.
Yeah, but I can see here it's about 25 feet wide, so it's not a buildable lot, whatever it is, and it looks like it runs back to Scotland Run if I stand far enough. And I don't know if you can see the pictures I submitted.
Yeah, it's fine. My question was, you know, if you owned it, if it was built or anything, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Kind of good.
it's either township or utility.
You're looking at your phone, does it have marked on your phone that it's like a designated an easement?
Yeah.
Some kind of indication that, we don't have that in front of us.
There's a property line shown.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it says that on the page, two utility vehicles coming in, which is built.
All right. Any more questions from members of the board? Okay. We're gonna open to the public now, so you guys can.
Make a motion to open the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of application 25-49? If you step up to the microphone, sir.
So just your name and address for the record.
Clarence Faward, my address is 1437 North Tuckahoe Road,
Could you spell your last name for me?
Fullard.
And raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth this evening.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I'm actually a neighbor to the property that you're talking to. And I've been there since I built my house there in 1980. So I have a little bit of knowledge about the property between, when I received the notice talking about the 9.5 feet off the back deck there that used to be there. There's an actual strip of property owned by Peach Country of about 17 to 18 feet at the end of their property. And that comes over and touches my property. So between my property line and their property line is about 17, 18 feet.
Just to, through the chair, just to clarify, so if I'm standing on Tuckahoe Road looking at their property,
Okay?
okay, to the left is the strip you're talking about that Peach Country owns,
Okay, it's right in the middle between my property
and then
their
your property,
Yes.
right? That's what we're talking about. So the strip that we're talking about,
So actually, if you're on Tuckahoe Road.
it's owned by Peach Country.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Goes all the way back to the end and goes across to their property.
Gotcha.
So actually, they're about 9.5 feet from the property that was reconstructed. And then there's the 17, 18 foot stretch, and that touches my property.
Property.
Okay?
Okay, thank
And
you.
that 17, 18 foot stretch is not really utilized by anybody. You know, it belongs to Peach Country. I do the grass cutting. The previous owners, we kind of shared the grass cutting for that property. But that's what the difference is in the footage.
Gotcha. Thank you.
other questions?
Well, okay, through the chair, since you live there, has there been any drainage problems
No,
in that area?
no.
Like between your property and theirs?
No.
Where you're flooded or they're flooded or
None
anything
whatsoever.
since you've been there how many years you said you lived there?
The house was built in 1980. I was there before that.
Oh,
And my
okay.
grandparents before that.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay,
so-
so you know the
Yeah.
lay of the land pretty well.
Correct, yes.
And there hasn't been any drainage issues or
None
flooding?
whatsoever.
And there's not been activity on that strip between the two properties that you said,
Other than
Peach Country,
coming in, cut down some trees.
cut
under the
trees and
wires.
keeping the grass,
Yeah, things like that. No.
and that's it. You said wires, so are there utility wires going along that strip
There's
to the back?
utility wires that come from Tuckahoe Road back to my house.
Oh, but not on that strip though, right? Or on that strip?
Right at the end of my property, like 25 feet from them.
Gotcha,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay, thank you very much. You've been very helpful.
Thank you very much.
Well, let me ask you one other question. Then you have no objections to this, right?
I was waiting for that question.
Then you have no objections, because I would say you do. because you
That's
didn't say-
correct, no objection.
No objections, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Anything
Tim. Come on, Bo.
Is anyone else from the public wishing to speak on behalf of application 25-89? Seeing none, motion to close public portion.
Motion to close.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, application number 2549, Isabel Vasquez Santiago. The applicant is seeking a side yard variance. Council gave a presentation in support of the side yard variance to allow 9.6 feet and 25 feet is required for the 14 by 5 foot by 17 foot existing addition. The property is located at 1443 North Tuckahoe Road. Their testimony from the applicant in support of the variance being sought, as well as a neighbor who came forward, so there's no drainage problems and there's no objection to the variance being granted. We need a motion to approve.
Okay, members, your pleasure in regards to application 25-49.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Colavita?
It's a pre-existing condition as our solicitor indicated, no drainage issues and no opposition, yes.
Mr. McGeehan?
Yes, as stated.
Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Mr. Geary?
Yes, as stated.
Mr. Kozak?
Yes, as stated.
Mr. Rice?
Yes, as stated.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Yes, as stated.
Okay, approved. We'll have a resolution drafted, hopefully by the next meeting, and we'll provide you with a copy as well as the zoning officer, so she can clear that up. Thank you.
Good luck.
My dad was with one R. But he was E-R-E, he was E-R-A.
Get to see your game after all. I know, right? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I was gonna watch it one way or the other. I was just gonna put my phone right there.
So you go fly and do something?
Yeah. All of a sudden, I'm like, definitely have to turn my microphone off. Yeah. That's it. That's good.
Okay, other agenda items, there are 3 requests for extensions of the application, extension use variances and various assorted approvals.
Motion to approve.
Individually, handled by a group vote. If you have any time you want to do it individually, just let me know. If not, I'll just, you can do it by consent agenda. The first is number 512 SP, and Special Auto Deals LLC, and 20-32 Sarvjet Singh, extension of the use variance and preliminary and final major site plan approval. The next is number 2, 523 SP, and number 2321 Nora Charburton JB LLC, extension of the use variance, preliminary and final major site plan. And the next is number 1881, Lakeisha Colburn and Christopher Merritt, extension of minor site plan approval. The attorney is requesting an additional 60 days extension of the minor site plan subdivision. And the others are for what, 1 year?
Let's see if they stated,
Well, as stated in their letter, and I'll include that in the resolution.
Yeah, that's what, sorry, there's too much to read.
I know, it may as well, so, okay.
Members, your pleasure in regards to extension request. Yes.
You have no objection?
Oh, no objection, I spoke.
You don't see anything,
No,
it's
no,
irregular?
yeah, it's pretty unusual, regular, based upon the fact that
That's
individuals.
permitted.
It's permitted to do so.
Thank you.
Members, your pleasure in regards to the extension request numbers 1 through 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Public portion, is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of any application? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Reports?
No.
None. The schedule is in this packet if everyone wants to look at it.
Yes, we did one of those calendars and highlighted all the dates again, but we'll send out the formal resolution that approves all the meeting dates for the year. There are a few that fell on days that, other than Mondays due to the holidays through the summer, I think, but you'll see it.
We'll
Please
figure it out.
don't forget to mark your calendars.
And if you can't show,
Always let us know, please.
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Next meeting's tonight?
minutes. Is there a motion to approve the December 15th, 2025 minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, Ryan. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And everyone else with their reappointments. And motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah.